Should foundational Black Americans create their own Emmy Awards? With a significant drop in FBA nominations during the past 2 years and a lack of content reflecting our experience, that is the question we ask on this live stream. Welcome to the movie Insurrectionist. What's good? This is Rashad, the movie Insurrectionist. Welcome to our latest and our first live stream on this channel. It's a milestone. I'm glad for you to be here as well as any newcomers to this channel. But before we get started, please subscribe to our channel by pressing the button located in the right corner of your screen. Press the bell icon, make a comment on the comment section, like the video, share it, and follow us on X. Now, let's do this. Although we primarily discuss movies on this channel, I do want to discuss the Emmy Awards and how it connects to FBAs in the film and television industry. Tonight we're asking a louder question. Should foundational Black Americans build our own Emmy Awards? Not asking for a seat, we're building the whole damn room. There's an article released back in July that I want to go ahead and show you guys. An article that was released back in July. There we go. That deals with some of the issues that we talk about here on this channel. This is an article from Deadline, and it reads, Emmy on-screen diversity takes a hit with acting and hosting nominations down 18% from 2024. And then you see here, these are some of the nominees that were actually nominated at the Emmys that took place on Sunday. We have Quinta Brunson, Pedro Pascal, of course, who's right here, E.B. Burry, I think is how you pronounce her name, Bowen Yang, and Tremel Tillman, who actually won an award for Best Supporting Actor in a Dramatic Series. He's the first Black man actually to win in that category. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. So the article, it actually reads, I won't read the entire thing, but I want to read the first paragraph. It says, 28 actors and reality hosts from diverse backgrounds were recognized by the Television Academy with Emmy nominations on Tuesday, not only an 18% drop from last year's 34, but near low since 2019, when there were 26 non-Caucasian actors and hosts. At its highest, the most diverse years of actors and reality competition talk show hosts was 2021, per Deadline stats with the massive 49 nominees. So what it's basically saying is that you've had a significant drop in nominees of Black folks during the most recent Emmy Awards. And there were actually more people that were involved in some of the prior celebrations. So, this is another article from People magazine, and it reads, viewers criticize Emmy Awards for monochromatic results and lack of diversity. Twitter users responded to the Emmys after a lack of diverse winners were announced Monday evening. It may be early in the evening, but viewers are already expressing their frustrations about the lack of diversity at Monday's Emmy Awards. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but here you have Michael Che. He was hosting this event, and this was back in 2018. And here you had some of the people in the X or Twitter sphere, formerly known as Twitter, complaining about what they saw. Another argue that Atlanta, which received 16 nominations, the most nods of any comedy this year, was getting robbed by not winning any awards in the earlier results. Surrounded by morons says, is ever award intro going to talk about diversity while handing an award to a white person? Hashtag Emmys. And you see there's a photo of Oprah Winfrey there. Trayvon Free. So basically this is Atlanta getting robbed season. Hashtag Emmys. I don't want to see that. Moving on to the next one. We have the Blonde Bombshell. So the Becky's got something to say about this. There goes some of our allies, I guess. Can we stand the hashtag Emmy So White hashtag yet? Or is it still too early? Very, very telling. This is from Gray Shrek. And he has to say, look at how diverse we are this year. Also, hashtag Emmys. Let's give all the white people the trophies. And then, of course, he's showing their image of our good FBA sister, Beyonce, while he's making such a snide remark. Justifiably so. Speaking of the LGBTQ community, we have The Culture, which is one of the definitive magazines for entertainment by the LGBTQ community. And here's what they have to say about this. Diversity at the Emmys, or lack thereof. I won't read the entire article, but I'll just read the last section. The lack of diversity in 2019 was disappointing, but expected. This was an article written in 2019, by the way, if you haven't noticed. Once the nominees were announced, it was clear that there wasn't enough representation for LGBTQ people or people of color. The night's top honors saw Game of Thrones winning Outstanding Drama, Fleabag winning Outstanding Comedy, and Chernobyl winning Best Limited Series, all shows with cast and creative teams that were overwhelmingly white. Victory should be noted, though Billy Porter made history by being the first openly gay black man to win the Emmy for lead actor in Pose. Gerald Jerome, a third Culture Kid, TCK, made history by being the first Afro-Latino and the first Dominican, which is actually not a race or ethnicity, it's a nationality, it could be a white Dominican, to win an acting Emmy for lead actor in the limited series When They See Us. Cherry Jones, Ben Winshaw, and Jane Lynch were all awarded winners that represented the LGBTQ community as well. The few wins of this diverse community shouldn't be underplayed or discarded. History has been made, and if anything, more awareness to this issue was sparked. It was hard to come back after witnessing 2018's success in these areas, but it doesn't lessen the fact that the Emmys missed the mark when it came to diversity and inclusion that year. So hold on a second. It's telling us here that in 2018, the year where you had all these complaints, go back to that, and we have our good old friend Gay Shrek that was telling us that let's give all the white people the trophies. This article is saying that in 2018, they were doing the right thing by the LGBTQ community. Who exactly would they be talking about? Well, I can assume that one of those people are probably RuPaul. RuPaul for his reality show. And he's actually the most winningest FBA person, gay or straight, to win the most consecutive Emmys. And it actually talks a little bit about that here. So I guess they may be talking about him. RuPaul is a representation of FBA, apparently. Let's go to the next article. This is from BuzzFeed.News. The Emmy Awards failed to award any actor of color in its 12 main categories, and it sparked a huge debate about performative diversity and white privilege. So, Sunday's night Emmys ceremony was led by a racially diverse lineup of hosts and presenters, and despite performers of color making them nearly half of the nominations, white actors swept the 12 major acting categories. This was in 2021. And here we have a picture of all the white actors that won the major categories. Any FBAs here? No. Let's see here. We got the nephew of the fat guy from Cheers. What about the guy in the top hat? He's got a beard like a lot of us, but no, he's not FBA. How about this guy? Definitely not FBA. No, he's not FBA. So, all the top awards in that year were given to nothing but white actors. Well, let's move down. Whoa! Stop the presses. Stop the bus. Actually, once again, there goes our FBA brother, RuPaul. Intersectionality's in the house. So RuPaul. With intersectionality in the house, with FBA and the LGBTQ community aligning itself, I guess you have one of us that's being represented over and over and over again at the Emmy Awards, okay? So, this article actually is being a little bit deceitful because we have a FBA person who won an award, but this person is hyphenated as an FBA LGBTQ person that represents both communities. How about that? In the last article I want to show you guys, this actually came out the same day as the first article I showed you on July 15th. Emmys 2025 Diversity Report. Worst showing of actors of color in 5 years despite historic nominations. And I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm going to go straight to the chart here. This is a chart that actually shows Emmy nominations of actors of color and how many actors of color were represented in roughly the last 9 years. But we'll round it off to 10. So we can start off with 2016. There were 21 nominations. 2017, 24. 2018, 32. 2019, 22. 2020, 37. 2021, 25. 2022, 42. 2023, 25. 2024, 30. And then 2025 went back to 24. So if you notice, there really hasn't been much of a change or upgrade from 2016. So in 2025, we have 24. In 2016, only 21. So there's only been 3 more actors or 3 more performers that have been nominated in the Emmys since 2016. So a 3-actor progression, I guess you want to call it. 3-actor progression. And within each year, the largest number was 42 in 2022. But for the most part, what this chart illustrates is that the needle has not moved. We're pretty much been represented in the Emmys exactly the same for the last 10 years. So, my initial point that I make with showing you guys all these charts and the focus that I actually like to illustrate with this is one thing and one thing only. If you look at the trend, the Emmy denies us access. We protest and they produce some token awards for some of us that push some sort of agenda for them, namely those of us in the LGBTQ community. Shout out RuPaul and Billy Porter. But for the rest of us in the FBA community, we're left out to dry. And if you notice, many of these other so-called people of color don't represent us. You had someone that was from the Dominican Republic, some people from the Asian community, some people from the Hispanic community, some people from other communities. But when it came to specifically to us and our stories, those of us who are foundational Black Americans here from the soil, the children of the people that built this country, you don't see any sort of high representation of us. And this is why I asked the question. Should we as FBAs create our own Emmys? Should we do it? Because with social media and platforms such as Tubi and Amazon, you have dozens of FBA filmmakers creating their own media, distributing it, and telling their own stories. We don't need the Emmys to validate our accomplishments. And years ago, before it was corrupted, we had the BET Awards, the NAACP Image Awards, and the Soul Train Music Awards. But what happened to these award shows? They were bought out by Viacom, corrupted by political interests, and shut down entirely. So I go back to my initial question. When will we as FBAs create our own Emmy Award show? And when we don't create our Emmy Award show, this right here is something that actually happens. Go ahead and watch your screen right here.
He was a beloved teenager in an iconic television series who the world watched grow into manhood. And like all our friends and colleagues who transitioned this past year, Malcolm Jamal Warner remains in our hearts.
Phylicia Rashad honoring her Cosby Show son, Malcolm Jamal Warner, at the 77th Annual Emmy Awards.
And even though they may no longer be here with us, we can all smile, knowing that their impact will remain, knowing that they touched our lives.
Vince Gill and Lainey Wilson provide.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Now what happened here? Now, if you've noticed, this particular article from Entertainment Tonight, it says The Cosby Show's Phylicia Rashad honors Malcolm Jamal Warner at the 2025 Emmy Awards. So why is it being juxtaposed to these two people? Maybe they only be here for a couple of seconds. I don't know. Let's go ahead and keep watching.
Creating a somber soundtrack as the Emmys remember those who died this last year.
Wait a second. Let me go ahead and run that back real quick. I'm acting like my pops right now watching a movie at home. But let me run that back real quick. That's not what I want to see. There it is right there. Ozzy Osbourne, musician. Last time I checked, the Emmy Awards was supposed to commemorate people that have had high achievements in television. Why is Ozzy Osbourne, no disrespect to you, Ozzy, but why is Ozzy Osbourne being commemorated at the Emmys? Last I checked, he was a musician. And this segment's supposed to be about Phylicia Rashad honoring our good FBA brother Malcolm Jamal Warner at the Emmy Awards. But I digress. Let's continue.
Who died this last year. The song, Go Rest High on That Mountain, holding a special place in Vince's heart.
The song we're singing is a song that I wrote about the passing of my brother 30 years ago, or 32 years ago now. Just thrilled to death to get to honor some of these folks that I never knew. But
and then we have David Lynch there, writer-director David Lynch. He also passed away. I know that he actually did some work in TV too, Twin Peaks. But once again, this is supposed to be a segment about Malcolm Jamal Warner. And so far, I've only seen him mentioned once, and only for about 30 seconds, if that. Are we ever going to get back to Malcolm? Maybe they'll get back to him, I don't know. Maybe at the end they'll tell us something special about Malcolm and Malcolm that we didn't know. Let's find out.
the song might mean something to him.
I can't believe that I'm getting to be here at the Emmys, much less getting to be with Vince Gill. I mean, he's one of my heroes. And so just to hear my voice next to his, like, it's a dream come true.
Lainey's just killing it out there, and she's such a neat kid, and she sings her brains out for one. You know, that helps. But it was not. It was the folks that put on the show that had the idea, and I said, man, I'm all for that. So it's great getting to know her a little bit. She's a great girl.
Chorus
Well, that was the end of the segment. And we only saw Malcolm Jamal Warner one time, and they didn't talk about him after that. Could have a bait switch, wouldn't you think? But this, folks, is precisely what happens when you are not in charge of your own media. When you have to outsource your media to other people, they sit up and they talk about you for a couple of seconds, and then they put in what they really want to discuss. This is what happens when you don't control your own media and you have no control over your own award show. I want to show you guys one more thing, and I think I'll probably give you some final thoughts and wrap this up. One more thing. There we go. This here is Tremel Tillman. He did something groundbreaking this past weekend on Sunday. He became the first black person to win Best Actor for a supporting role in a dramatic television series. And although that does sound like a crowning achievement, there is a bit of a problem. But first, I want you to hear his speech. His speech actually is quite interesting, to say the least. Hold on one second.
My first acting coach was tough, y'all. But all great mothers are. Mama, you were there for me when no one else was, and no one else would show up. Your loving kindness stays with me. And this is for you. Thank you to the Academy. I am full, I am humbled, I am honored. And as my mama would say, ooh, look at God. Thank you.
Oh. All right, he stood up there, he honored his mom, talked and said his mom was his first acting teacher. As somebody whose mother put him through undergrad, I can totally appreciate that sentiment. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I don't find any issue with that. But what I want to talk about is something that's more egregious to me. Although what he accomplished is an accomplishment, him being the first black man, I'm not sure whether he's FBA'd or not, but him being the first black man to win an Emmy in a supporting role on a dramatic series is an achievement. But here's the problem. When did the Emmys actually first start? Because if my memory serves me correct, this is not the first Emmys. This is not the 10th Emmys. Hell, at this point, this is not even the 30th Emmys. So when exactly did the Emmys first start? We're in the year 2025. Let's go ahead and find that out for ourselves. So I did a little Google search. I went to Google and I decided to take the liberty to find out exactly when did the Emmys first start. So going back, I had to put in that question. So the question that I actually highlighted, that I wrote here was, when did the Emmys start? So give me a second here. I know, just bear with me, So when did the Emmys start? Right there. And here's the answer. One of the great things about Google. This is a common question. The Emmys started on January 25th, 1949. I repeat that. January 25th, 1949 is when the Emmys actually started. That was the first Emmys award was in 1949. Before my mother was born, before my father was born. Before the 1950s. When Jim Crow actually was still going on is when the first Emmys actually happened. So do you guys understand why this is a problem? So you mean to tell me that it took the Emmys, let's see here. And if I can go ahead and put this into a calculator, just to be precise, my mathematics is not always the best, but I like to be precise. Here we are in 2025. Subtract that from 1949. So it took the Emmys 76 years. It took them 76 years, nearly a century, for them to give a black man Best Supporting Actor, not even lead actor, Best Supporting Actor for a dramatic series. 76 years. This is how long it took the Emmys to acknowledge us and to recognize that we actually are good performers in that category. It took them 76 years for them to award a black person, a black man, as Best Supporting Actor, not even lead actor, Best Supporting Actor within a dramatic series. 76 years. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, brothers and sisters who are listening to this, but I say this with concern, and I say this just to be thoughtful. Should we, as FBA black folks, create our own Emmy Awards? Just something to think about. That's something to think about. But you're saying, well, you know what, Rashad, what are you talking about? That's just one award. What other awards have, I mean, they've given black folks awards in other categories. What about Best Actor in a dramatic role? Well, let's find out. Have they actually awarded any black actors in a dramatic role? Let's find out. Have the Emmys awarded a black man with Best Actor in a dramatic role? Excuse me for a second. Here we go. Has a black man won Best Actor in a leading role? Has a black man won Best Actor in a leading role for the Emmys? So no. So the answer to that question, so no black man has ever won Best Actor in a leading role in a drama in the Emmys. So no black man has yet. So according to this, it says a black man has not yet won the Emmy for Best Actor in a leading role in a drama. But let's see who actually has won some awards. Well, we have Viola Davis. She actually was the first black woman to win lead actress in a dramatic role in 2015 for How to Get Away with Murder. Okay. That's actually something that's notable, I guess. But again, 1949, 2015. Took them 66 years. Took them 66 years in order for them to acknowledge that a black woman was actually good enough to win a lead acting Emmy for a television series in a drama. It took them 66 years to acknowledge this. So I say it once again, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world, when do we, as FBA's foundational black Americans, create our own version of the Emmys? When do we do it? When do we do it? It's a very simple question to ask. And the reason why I asked this, question is because when And if we continue to keep on outsourcing our work to others and not exercising becoming owners of our own products and being the masters of our own destiny and shaping our own image, they will continue to keep marginalizing us, sliding us, giving a couple of us token awards, and then the next year or 2 years after that, it's business as usual. This is what they do. There are enough of us in this industry where we can become power brokers. I know that a lot of people out there don't like Tyler Perry. They're not crazy about his work, but I've always said that Tyler Perry has a model that a lot of us as black folks can follow. He understood who his base was. He first built up his base when it came to that church-going crowd. He first built up his following through his plays that he had all throughout the country. And once he did that, he was able to garnish that to create films that he first leveraged and distribute with Lion Gates Pictures. But after he did that, Tyler Perry was able to do something that very few people have ever done. He created his own studios. But I think that we can take it a step further and own everything from the top to bottom. But just like Tyler Perry made the kind of films he made, we can make movies in the FBA community that fit our reality, our value system, the things that we like, the things that resonate with us, and show ourselves in the image that we want to be shown throughout the world. There are some folks out here in the FBA community that are producing some work, myself included. And you got brothers like Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black. They're doing their thing with documentaries, but we need television shows. And we also need motion pictures that shape the culture of us as FBAs. Because if we don't do it, the dominant society will definitely do it. And once they get a hold of our culture, then they start pushing things that don't necessarily benefit us. And we're seeing this already. So, my question is very rhetorical. When do we, as foundational black Americans, build our own Emmy Awards? That's my final thought. So this is Rashad the Movie Insurrectionist. I want to thank you for joining in for this first and historic live stream that was posted on our YouTube channel. I know we've had a couple technical errors in the past. I apologize for that. Working out the kinks for this show. This is our first live stream, and many of our other live streams will be better as time progresses. So I thank anyone that listened to this. I want to thank any of the callers that came in before Uncle Z, my brother Fabian, as well as some of the other individuals that I actually text early on that were going to come on the show. So anyway, I want to leave you with that, and let's go ahead and get out of here. So this is Rashad from the Movie Insurrectionist. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the page, share it, and follow us on X. And remember, the theatrical release will never be